Welcome to the Viking Age podcast, the official podcast of the VikingAge.com. My name is Chris Schad. I'm a writer for the Viking Age Zone Coverage, Bring Me the News, and the Brookings Register. And we do this, my co-host, is Adam Patrick, the managing editor of the Viking Age. And we do this every Monday with a late week episode right here on the Viking Age YouTube channel. We're also in podcast form on Apple and Spotify the very next day. But however you consume us, make sure you rate, comment, like, and subscribe so you never miss a new episode and we can spread the word to the masses. Adam, you're only on once a week, so I'm just going to dive right into some of the top storylines as far as the Vikings go. And we're going to kind of pump heat right from the shoot. Like the Twins.
CJ Ham.
We're going to talk about CJ Ham's future. Is it hammer time in the Twin Cities still? I heard he's from Minnesota, but unlike the Twins, whose hat I just tossed on, the Vikings hot stove is actually burning pretty hot right now. A lot of it has to do with Kirk Cousins. The latest development, if you will, in Kirk Watch 2024 is that Kirk Cousins showed some interest in playing for Bill Belichick. He was interviewed by CBS Sports' Isabel Gonzalez last week, and he said, "I'm not going to turn down an opportunity to play for a future Hall of Fame coach, but we'll have to see where March leads." There's a lot of unknowns right now. As you may have heard, Kirk Cousins is a free agent after this season. Bill Belichick does not have a team right now, but he has interviewed twice with the Atlanta Falcons so far since he was let go by the New England Patriots. If you want to get our full opinion on Kirk Cousins, we suggest you go back to last Monday's episode where he had the great Kirk Cousins debate of 2024. Hopefully there's not a 2025 one, but if you want to go full Kirk right now, you can go back, you can check out that episode and we'll talk about it. But let's start here, Adam. What do you make of Kirk Cousins' comments about playing for Bill Belichick?
I'm not surprised because he's been someone who's talked a lot about Tom Brady and how much he admires him and stuff. So obviously he would probably want to play for the guy that was Brady's coach for the majority of his career. And it just so happens that he's interviewing with a team where, his wife's from, a place where he got married, where he has family, where he's trained before, who probably just needs a quarterback to kind of get over the hump because I have some pieces there already. So I'm not surprised. I would throw a little cold water on it because today I heard, I think I was listening to the Bill Simmons podcast, and he knows some people in the Boston sports sphere or whatever, because he's the Boston sports guy or whatever. But he said that Arthur Blank wants to hire Bill Belichick and people in the front office, or he heard that Arthur Blank wants to hire Bill Belichick and other people in the front office don't. So it's kind of like Arthur Blank is like, yes, I want Bill Belichick. He's the greatest. And then other people are like, no, we want to keep our jobs. We don't want to hire Bill Belichick. So that might change things up a little bit, but I think the owner gets the final say with that. Usually how it goes. So we could see, but they're still interviewing a lot of people, and I'm sure that's part of the process where it's like, can we just interview some more people before we, just dive right into Bill Belichick? And no one's probably like, okay, but I wonder if at the end he's just gonna be like, just hire Belichick. I think it would still be interesting to think about if Jim Harbaugh went there. I think it would be interesting to see if he would go after someone like Kirk. It would be it would be fucking hilarious if Jim Harbaugh recruited Kirk Cousins to the Falcons after the Vikings rejected Jim Harbaugh. So that would be interesting. But yeah, it's off-season stuff, and it's always fun to stir the pot a little bit, even though people, there's always people are like, no, they're going to re-sign Cousins no matter what. And I'm like, I feel like they probably would have already. Like, they let it get to this point with no contract. I don't know. I think
they had a chance to do it last year and they didn't do it.
The writing's on the wall, unless Kirk Cousins somehow just some reason has a change of heart. But it seems like he's already going on the the media tour of, I'm a great guy. My Achilles is healing like, super fast, and I'll be ready to go next season. So yeah, our own fan-sided zone, Ian McMillan made a pitch for him on behalf of the Falcons. He's a Falcons fan, and he said, oh, well, we'll see, all giggles and everything. But it's going on. We still got we got what, 2 months more of this till maybe something happens.
It feels a lot like Vikings pre Brett Favre down there. I've heard that tossed around, but when you look at the Falcons, they're a pretty good team. I don't think they have the defense that the 2009 Vikings had, but offensively, you got a guy like Drake London. You have a monster tight end, Kyle Pitts, who's been MIA, Bijan Robinson. They even have a running back. Like, believe that. Running backs do seem to matter when you don't have a running game. But
do they have a top 10 pick too? I think they do.
They do. They have the 8th overall pick in this year's draft.
Right.
There's a lot to like, especially the ability to give Cousins a lot of money, which the Vikings may not have, or at least might be a little skittish to do this. I wrote about this for Zone Coverage last Friday, and I thought about it a little bit. It would be awesome to see if that would work, because remember, Kirk Cousins didn't really get along with Mike Zimmer, a fellow Grizzly football guy from the Parcells tree. I feel like Belichick's different. Like, he's a hard ass, obviously, but I mean, at the same time, like, he's got a sense of humor. Like, everybody's probably seen the video of Randy Moss, like, inviting him to the Halloween party, and it looks like a scene out of The Office where he shows up dressed as, he's like, what do you want me to dress up as the devil? And he's like, no, not at all. Like, if you want to go as the devil, I'm not going to stop you. And he's like very self-aware. I mean, it would be fun. I mean, could you imagine if if Cousins goes to Atlanta, wins a Super Bowl with Bill Belichick, maybe like they're up on the podium, they're shirtless, they're both wearing chains, like doing the dance.
That would be the parade, probably.
Zadarius Smith is a free agent. He could go there and join them. They could all just kind of have one big reunion down there. I think. No,
they trade for Diggs too.
Yeah, why not?
Get Adam Thielen in there.
Everything's on the table. Like, go full Kirko. See what happens. I mean, if you're gonna do this, you might as well go all the way, because the Vikings sure as hell won't.
Do you think Adam Thielen would leave his pursuit of the Super Bowl in Carolina to go play with Kirk again in Atlanta?
Would they I don't know if they probably like David Tepper would be like, I don't want to play with you anymore. Like, you're gone. We're cutting you.
Have you heard his
there's
nickname?
Like $20 million in dead cap. No. I'm done with him. I don't.
Have you heard his nickname? David Tepper. Tepper Tantrum.
I saw a tweet yesterday as Jason Kelce was just freely jumping in and out of a luxury suite at Highmark Stadium yesterday. Like, David Tepper steps up in his suite to pour a drink on people. Jason Kelce jumps out of his suite to go drink with people. That was incredible, by the way. I loved everything about that.
Only in Buffalo, though.
Yeah. You can't jump out of the suite in like US Bank Stadium. It's a bit of a drop, but I mean,
maybe Green Bay.
I saw the security guard just standing there, and I'm like, that's got to be like a tough assignment. Like, hey, you're in the section with Taylor Swift. Don't fuck it up. Like, right. And Jason Kelce is just like going in and out freely with his shirt off. Like, am I supposed to stop him? If I don't get paid enough. I'm making like $20 an hour, dude. Like, this is bullshit.
I think they're probably used to that with all the craziness with Taylor Swift, probably. You would think so.
Yeah. Well, it was Buffalo. They're not used to Taylor Swift.
Right.
Yeah. But so, like, if Kirk Cousins go, and you mentioned it a little bit, like, you think Harbaugh would want Kirk Cousins? Because
I don't know.
We remember.
What do you want, JJ McCarthy at pick number 8?
If they want to take him off the board, I'm not going to be upset with it.
Take him over,
I don't know. I don't know what to think of JJ McCarthy. Like, sometimes I look at him and I'm like, I could see it. I could maybe see it. And then there's part of me going like, what's the difference between like him and Daniel Jones? Like, this could be like a clip people like post in 10 years being like, Chris was a dumbass, but
he just didn't throw a lot in college.
Yeah.
They didn't need him. I don't know if they did it on purpose or they didn't need him because their rushing attack was really good. But I think I don't remember who, but somebody posted like his third down numbers. I think it was like, and all of his numbers were better than all the other quarterbacks that are available in this draft. So that's something to, I guess, keep in mind because third down's pretty important. That's usually when you make your bread. So
That's
I
when
don't
you
know.
throw it beyond the sticks to get a first down.
Yeah, maybe you can do it on
Checking
fourth
down to
down.
CJ Ham. You could do that on fourth down too and throw it ahead of the sticks. That's a bold strategy, but we could see if it pays off. I don't know. That would be pretty funny if Harbaugh and Cousins wound up in the same spot after all of this because
They're both very religious.
you want to talk about an odd couple. That would be an odd couple.
I don't know if it would. I think they would. They're two goofballs. They'd get along great, probably.
Stepbrothers, like they would like clash at the beginning, but then they'd become best friends. And then just like at the Catalina wine mixer, you have to call me Dragon.
Then after a little while, it'd be like the Seth Rogen part where he's like, "All right, now the tuxedos are weird. Now this is weird."
What's that? I'm tasting onion and ketchup. I don't know. This is already going off the rails. You want to move on?
January.
So, I mean, yeah. I mean, we've talked enough about Kirk Cousins.
Yeah.
I mean, we're gonna, like you said, we're gonna get more of this in the next couple of weeks, where it's just like Kirk said this and Kirk said that, or we've heard this about Kirk, and Kirk's at a Chick-fil-A right now, and Kirk's there.
I just wrote about Devontae Adams saying how he'd like to catch passes from Kirk Cousins, and the Raiders have a bunch of cap space. I'm just not sure if Antonio Pierce is like, yeah, let's go get Kirk Cousins. What?
So, it would also be weird if, like, he said, no, I wouldn't want to play with Belichick. That guy's mean. Like,
Antonio Pierce is kind of like a player's coach, though, I feel like. If you couldn't tell by the locker room after they won their first game.
He seems like a babysitter almost.
It's it's cool at first. It might get well out of hand, though, and in the future.
Does he last a year? Because I feel like he doesn't.
I think so. I think he's been a head coach, well, not a head coach, but he's been on coaching staffs before. I think he was with Arizona State. He was obviously with the Raiders, and he was with Tom Coughlin in New York when he was a player. So he knows that it's okay to have fun, but you gotta get to business too. So
yeah, I don't know. It's just a thought. I mean, I don't know. It just seems like they're really. I know he won some games. I know
it's like a Leslie Frazier kind of situation. You think?
Yeah, that's what I'm reminded of. Yeah. Where it's like, hey, we really like him, and then Mark. I mean, it's not like Mark Davis knows what he's doing outside of like moving to a. Yeah, and don't trust his barber at all. But get the giant bull out, we'll be fine. If you couldn't already tell, this show is just going to be off the rails the entire time. Speaking of off the rails, some fans want to trade Justin Jefferson now. Yeah, so we all know the situation here. Justin Jefferson needs a big contract this offseason. The Vikings have a lot of needs. If Kirk leaves, should the Vikings consider trading? Is this the type of shit we do because our team's not in the playoffs?
Well, I think the whole thing, it was started by Score North. First off, this is not like throwing shade on them or anything. So I'm just saying that they started probably this or at least ramped it up because they did a whole episode on, the pros and cons or whatever of trading Justin Jefferson. And then I believe, this is not what anyone else mentions when they talk about it, is that both Phil and Judd were both like, nah, we don't want to do that. We don't want to trade Justin Jefferson unless you're giving us like 3 first-round picks in like the top 3. Because they were like, well, Kansas City could give you like a first-round pick. And they're like, yeah, but then you'll be picking what, 32nd? So like, who cares?
You're basically getting a second-round pick.
Yeah. So, so they both said no, but you wouldn't know that from the reactions of their thumbnail that they posted online. Which I'm sure we'll get a lot of grief for the thumbnail that we posted today. No, if they didn't have a lot of pieces, like maybe if there wasn't guys on the team like Cam Bynum or Josh Metellus or Ivan Pace, or Christian Darrisaw or TJ Hawkinson, then I'd be like, yeah, sure, whatever. Go trade him. Get what you need to get. Or even if there was like another regime change where you're like, okay, this time we really are starting from scratch. Let's trade Justin Jefferson. Let's see if we can, get everything for him now. Let's build it, get all our resources, and so we can just build this team from scratch. But the way that they've been approaching things the last 2 years, no. I don't even think the Wills would sign off on that. Jefferson's not a problem off the field. He's not a problem on the field or in the locker room. He doesn't even really like to talk about his contract. He's like, yeah, I'm going to get paid. Great. We don't really need to talk about it. So, no, I don't think they should trade him. I mean, yeah, you would get a lot in return, but I there's no guarantee that you nail those picks either that you would get in return. I just don't think that in their situation right now it's a good idea, because he's someone you bring a young quarterback in. He's perfect, to help that young quarterback kind of play better than they might have without him. So you're gonna trade Justin Jefferson and then draft a young quarterback and who's not gonna have Justin Jefferson, and TJ Hawkinson's probably not gonna be ready for the start of the year. So you're gonna have Jordan Addison and who? Jalen Naylor?
Bring back KJ Osborne, wide receiver too.
No, so not this year, and probably not next year, because he'll be under. He'll have a big extension, so they won't even be able to trade him. But it is interesting to look back and see some of the recent wide receiver trades and why they were traded. You look at Tyreek Hill; he was traded because he wanted more money. Devontae Adams, he was traded because he wanted more money. AJ Brown, he was traded because he wanted more money. There's a theme. But I think when it comes down to it, Justin Jefferson's probably one of the few of those guys that's worth the money. And I think Tyreek Hill is as well. I think the Chiefs have learned that. They won the Super Bowl without him, but I think they would probably like to have him back now, even though they're going to the AFC Championship again. Jesus Christ. But yeah, you don't need to trade Justin Jefferson. No, you're good.
The compensation for the previous trades: Tyreek Hill, first round pick, second round pick, 2 4th-rounders, and a 6th-rounder spread over 2 years.
Is he 4 years older than Jefferson, I think?
Yes, I think so.
4 to 3.
I mean, he's a couple years older. AJ Brown, I think, is 1 year older than Jefferson. Right. Titans only got a first round, 18th overall, and the 104th. So it's like a 4th-round pick for AJ Brown.
Yeah, that's why they fired their GM.
That's why their GM got fired and their head coach got fired, basically. Yeah. When people are like, you should trade Justin Jefferson, I'm like, did you see what happened in Tennessee?
Yeah. Who sent you that message? Rick Spielman?
Traylon Burks is just as good.
Yeah.
Just saying. Shows up to training camp. Oh, he's got asthma. This is bad. Okay. No offense to anybody who has asthma, but it's something a football team might want to check out at the combine. Just saying.
Before you trade away your best receiver.
Yeah. Stephon Diggs trade. 1st round, 4th round, 5th round, 6th round picks from Buffalo, and the Vikings traded up and down and did whatever.
That's a good trade, because Diggs didn't. I don't think Diggs made a Pro Bowl before.
No, but here's the thing. So I think a lot of people probably look at the trades the Vikings have made in the past with receivers and been like, but you can get so much. Randy Moss got a 1st-round pick, wound up being Troy Williamson, but it was still a top 10 pick in that deal. And then, they trade Percy Harvin. They wind up with 3 1st-rounders in that deal. And then Stephon Diggs. Nobody ever bitches about the Stephon Diggs trade, because you landed Justin Jefferson in that trade. You're basically pulling the lever, being like, let's see if it hits again. And you might get a good receiver, but you're not going to get a great one. And how has Stephon Diggs been doing? I think the last time we saw him, he dropped a wide open pass in the AFC divisional round. And that's why the Chiefs are back in the AFC championship game, aside from kickers and stuff. But that's another thing. I mean, I don't know how bad it's got to get for this. The only way I make this deal is if either the truthers out there's conspiracy theories, right, that Justin Jefferson will only play for Kirk Cousins, or B, he just goes, I'm not signing with you. He's like, I don't know what you're doing. I don't know what's going on here. You're not you don't want to guarantee my money. I want to be traded. Trade. He's like the goalie in Slapshot. Trade me right fucking now. Like that's basically what has to say for Justin Jefferson to get traded. So,
And
I mean too, like,
he hasn't shown any signs of that.
Well, I mean, the same argument too. So the argument that people have for bringing Kirk Cousins back is very similar to the argument to keep Justin Jefferson, because if you bring Kirk Cousins back, you're saying our supporting cast is good enough that we can make a run in the NFC. That is basically the message that you're saying. If you let Kirk Cousins walk and then you trade Justin Jefferson, you're basically saying, yeah, we have nothing. But I mean, keeping Jefferson, you have Jordan Addison. You have TJ Hawkinson when he comes back from his injury, which, worst case scenario, it's October, November before he gets back. I mean, it sucks, but he's still there. He's not dead. Right. And then you have Christian Darrisaw, Brian O'Neill. You're getting Brian Flores back, it looks like, for a second year. So that's great news for the defense. The world's best tight end, Johnny Munt, also back.
No, he's a free agent.
You know damn well he's going to sign it like immediately. It's going to come out in February, and then Kevin O'Connell.
He's already signed.
Like, well, Adam, we had to sign him. He's the best third tight end in the league. There's just scenarios and situations and scenarios. Sometimes I don't even know what the fuck they mean, but I do it. And sometimes you just say screw it and you call a halfback pass to Kirk Cousins on a third down in a playoff game. You never know. And you know how I feel about Kirk. I mean, sometimes I think about Kirk Cousins in a sauna and a bottle of Thousand Island dressing, but those are things I probably shouldn't say right now. I'm going to give you a game ball just for asking that great question, Adam.
Do you think they run any other?
I'm so pissed off at the Vikings. It is unreal. Like, there's just this boiling, like, hate. Not even hatred. I don't hate the Vikings. I'm just mad that it's just like, will you just, I said it the other day. I'm like, everything with this team is so fucking complicated. It's like rocket science. It's just like timelines and horizons and bullshit. Play fucking football. Just sign guys, build a team, win a Super Bowl. That's all. Get to the Super Bowl. I've never seen the team get to the Super Bowl.
No. We haven't.
Right,
we've
sorry.
never.
I guess that was just. I had to let it out. But
what year were you born?
1986.
Okay, so you were alive the last time they won 2 playoff games in a row.
I was
87 was the last time.
18 months old.
Right. I wasn't alive.
Yeah.
That's how long it's been since they've won. Now, not even gotten to the NFC. They have not won 2 playoff games in a season since 1987, and I believe they were the wild card team. They beat like Washington, and they went to like the NFC Championship with against the Niners, I think, or they might have beat the Niners, and they lost to Washington in the NFC Championship. That's what happened. Yep.
Yeah, because in 2019, that's what everybody was like, hey, we could do the same thing as 1987, and that just got weird because the 49ers just said, no, you're not. You're not doing shit today outside of a Stephon Diggs touchdown. So there's that. I don't know. Let's move on. Let's talk about one other rumor before we get to teams that are actually good at football. Russell Wilson. There's low whispers about Russell Wilson potentially being interested in the Vikings. That came from ESPN's Jeremy Fowler. I bet you Justin Jefferson is driving part of that interest, but that's another discussion. Wilson's due a $37 million cap hit next year. He's not getting that money from the Broncos. I think he is, but he's just not.
Maybe he has to sign. He has to sign like a vet minimum, I think, with his next team.
Yeah,
which is enticing, but I still wouldn't want him as the starter.
Yeah. Why wouldn't you want Russell Wilson as the starter?
Because if you're going to spend no money on a quarterback, I'd rather have it be like a rookie. And we already know what Russell Wilson is. He should be a backup right now. So, I mean, I think that all the rumors about him are coming from him. I don't think it's the Vikings that are like, oh, we're really interested in Russell Wilson. You know how he got benched this year by Sean Payton when the team was in a playoff hunt? Yeah, that's the guy we want. That's the guy, we want to bring that guy who, like, for better or worse, like, the attention just, like, you'd think Kirk Cousins, people, like, fight and talk about Kirk Cousins or obsess about whatever he does, it's like 1,000 times worse with Russell Wilson. And he does it all to
I feel
himself.
like we would unite against Russell Wilson.
I think I saw that tweet where it was like, Vikings fans fight about Kirk Cousins and Justin Jefferson, but I think we're all united on the front that we don't want anything to do with Russell Wilson. So, yeah.
Yeah, if they do that, it's just another push like 9-8. Let's get in the tournament. Let's push towards
This is
it's
like Dennis Green would do this. Dennis Green would make this move. He'd be like,
but Dennis Green was good because he could probably get him to the playoffs.
Yeah, I could squeeze like whatever ounce of juice Russell Wilson has left in his body. But no, not this regime. Because right now Russell Wilson needs a good rushing attack, and Kevin O'Connell doesn't know how to run the ball. So
well, and here's the other thing too. Like Kevin O'Connell's offense, we saw with Josh Dobbs, right? Like a lot of us were just saying, dude, just let Josh Dobbs play playground football and he can win games that way. It's like, nope, he's got to throw it in the wind. Like Josh Dobbs had like a 15-yard scramble for a first down. They cut to Kevin O'Connell. He's like, God damn it. Like, do you just want to run your offense to like impress your bro, Sean McVay, or do you want to win a football game here?
Who adjusted his offense this year? So I'm curious to see if O'Connell does the same thing.
He actually touched the running game, which man, this running game seems to matter. What if we ran a gap scheme and then Kyron Williams was the best running back in the
Takes
NFL?
a lot of pressure off your quarterback, huh? It's weird.
Yeah. Funny how that works. I'm in the same boat with you, man. I mean, I would rather get a rookie than I guess the only thing that I would
rather have JJ McCarthy than Russell Wilson.
Right. But I'm also saying too, if you take that quarterback in round 2 and you sign Russell, but then it's just like a Donovan McNabb, Christian Ponder situation where it's just like, okay, how long is this going to last?
It's sort of like, people wonder why like Cam Newton hasn't been back in the league or whatever, because he's still kind of young. He's in his mid-30s. You can't bring him in because he still has a starter's mentality, and I feel like that's the same thing with Russell Wilson. He's not a Teddy Bridgewater who's like, I'll just be the backup. He's going to come in and be like, I'm going to compete for the job. That's what I'm here for. So, you can't. If you're going to bring in a veteran quarterback, it's got to be someone who is okay with being a backup, like an Andy Dalton or a Nick Mullins, or I guess Ryan Tannehill would probably be in that category now. I don't know if he still thinks he's a starter, but.
And I think some people are kind of overlooking this, but this is a factor that complicates the Cousins situation. Like, because everybody's like, well, you could just draft a quarterback in the first round after you re-sign Kirk Cousins. Like, Kirk's going to know you're doing that.
Right.
Like, hey, sign this. This is fully guaranteed for this year. A little bit of funny. Oh, yeah, we're also drafting your replacement in the first round. Huh?
Yeah. And then people will be like, oh, well, he's just going to be like Aaron Rodgers and win back-to-back MVPs because he's so motivated by, the rookie back there.
Chip on his shoulder.
I don't think so. Not gonna
it's just going to hook some ayahuasca into his veins and like more than a feeling. It's just going to like blast in his brain at all times.
Maybe some apple juice or something. I don't know about ayahuasca. But.
Kirk on ayahuasca would be an entertaining experience. Okay. Well, that's all I had for Vikings headlines because we're not in the playoffs, but I can talk about playoff teams that are in the playoffs.
Cook is.
Dalvin Cook. You want to start with the Ravens? We can start with the AFC and go to the NFC.
Michael Pierce too.
Yeah. So the AFC, you know what? I didn't put too many notes about the AFC because they're pretty cut and dry. I had 2 takes for the AFC. One, good for Lamar Jackson, because this time last year, the Ravens were like, I don't know if we want to pay him. Like, huh?
Not just the Ravens.
Yeah. Oh, the entire league. The Vikings apparently were interested. And they're like, nah, we got Kirko.
I think it was like the Panthers or Falcons both put out announcements where they were like, no, we don't want him. And it's like, you sure about that? Like right now?
Seems like a great idea. We'll just trade up and draft Bryce Young.
Yeah.
Or actually, they probably we'll trade up. We'll get CJ Stroud. No, you're taking Bryce Young. What? We want Bryce Young. And Tepper like threw himself on the ground and started crying until he got a juice box or something. So yeah, I mean, the fact that he's an MVP candidate probably should be the MVP when you think about it. And I don't know. I want to see him go to the Super Bowl. Part of it is because I've already seen Pat Mahomes go to the Super Bowl. I've already seen them win. Yeah. That heel turn should be studied in like American history. Like Triple H is somewhere like, I should have thought of that. That's a great heel turn. Like, that's a really shitty Triple H impersonation. My KOC one wasn't very good either earlier in the show.
No, that was better than that one. Yeah, I would like to see a Lions Ravens Super Bowl just to mess it all up. I don't know if we'll do that because I think the Niners are pretty good.
In the Super Bowl logo, like it's purple and red. It has to be the colors. Apparently,
you're doing that. Okay.
Yeah.
I
wrote a story on next year's because apparently it's purple and green. So,
and what's this? The Kirk Cousins one? If you lose to Kirk Cousins, you can't win the Super Bowl.
Right. So no team that has lost to Kirk Cousins has won the Super Bowl that year.
What kind of stupid stat is that? Like,
it's something someone from the deep corner of Vikings internet looked up. Kirk Cousins has a perfect passer rating when he gets a peanut butter and jelly sandwich with chunky peanut butter at exactly 15 minutes before kickoff. If it's 16, it drops 20 points. And if it's 1 minute later, it's down to 68. We become the Lions.
You know what happened in the Ravens game, though, which was very predictable? Dalvin Cook had like a 20-yard run in the fourth quarter against like the second string Texans defense or whatever. And immediately, people were like, "Oh, I bet you the Vikings wish they would have kept Dalvin Cook." It's like, no, they don't, because he was going to cost $12 million and he wasn't playing well, and they could have just started Ty Chandler. So no, they didn't wish that they wanted Dalvin Cook.
But Adam, there are several scenarios and situations that you have to consider with Ty Chandler. I really like Alexander Madison. I gave him a game ball at the end of the season. I said, hey, maybe you didn't get a touchdown, but I want to make sure that he had something to remember this by. And, as a matter of fact, the whole running back room did indeed get a game ball for their horseshit season. So I'm going to call 3 straight passes, 4 receiver sets. Might even talk to Sean McVay, see what he thinks, and we'll just go from there. Tight end and another tight end screen. I mean, I might have TJ out there as a decoy for the tight end screen, just on his crutches, like because it'll throw off the defense.
The Ravens made me think of a trivia question because I was looking up like former Vikings that are on all their. Are you okay?
No, I'm not okay.
All right, maybe this will lighten the mood. All right,
but go ahead.
There's a former Viking on the Ravens practice squad who's not named Laquan Treadwell. He's a former Vikings wide receiver. He went undrafted, and he didn't have a catch with the Vikings, but he played for like 2 or 3 years with the Vikings. Rick Spielman signed him.
Roddy Adams?
Dan Gisena.
Oh, the ultimate weapon.
He's still going. He's on the Ravens practice squad.
The guy that would always get down to the returner and miss the tackle.
Yeah.
The ultimate weapon. Nobody knew what the fuck he could do, but my God, he could run fast because he was a track star.
Couldn't tackle, but he is fast.
Just he would be the person to slow the other guy down, apparently.
Was it in Mighty Ducks, that kid who could skate really fast but he couldn't stop?
Luis Mendoza.
Yeah, that's exactly
from Miami.
It's Dan Gisena on skates.
He couldn't stop skating, but somehow he made the Olympics or whatever it was in D2.
Right.
It's
Dan
great.
Gisena.
I do remember Dalvin Cook, though, jumping on the internet because Barstool posted this thing. I guess they took the over for Dalvin Cook 8.5, and they posted a video of them like celebrating. Easy money. Just, I mean, I agree. His bionic shoulder, look at how it helped him this season. The Jets were clearly impressed. They were so impressed they gave the ball to Breece Hall instead. But
Laquan Treadwell. Let's see him get a Super Bowl ring before Justin Jefferson. That'll be great.
You can put Laquan Treadwell has more Super Bowl rings than Kirk. A fun little discussion, wouldn't it?
Phil Mackey has that in the drafts right now. In the drafts, just ready to go.
Just got some Uzis,
like the Joker,
got some nines,
throwing a grenade behind him.
Hits the button.
Walking away.
Send tweet, send tweet, send tweet. Yeah, I mean that was my take on the Ravens, and then Jason Kelsey freaking rules. Like that was fun. That was cool. We were talking about it a little bit earlier in the show, but I mean,
Is he retiring?
Dude,
He's gotta be retiring.
I would think he's retiring after that. Like,
Yeah.
I think Marcus Spears pointed out, he's like, that man has Russell sweatpants. He does not give a fuck right now.
Yeah.
Like he's just sitting there like in a bomber hat, like taking bowling ball shots. And it's like, yeah, no shit. He's shirtless, slamming beers in the second quarter. What the hell did you think would happen? Yeah. The only thing that would have been better if it's like if Taylor Swift went with him and she's like, I'll jump through a flaming table.
Right? That would have been amazing.
That would have been the great, like Taylor Swift chugging beers, jumping through flaming tables, just
I think a lot of people
are you ready for it?
All right, okay, this Taylor Swift girl, she's pretty cool. Well,
yeah.
With all the people that are like, oh my God, I keep showing her, then be like, oh, okay. You do that.
First couple of weeks, I was like, okay, this is aggressive. Now I've just gotten used to it.
They show what did they show? They showed Eminem during the Lions game. They showed that old season ticket holder in the Lions game. Heard a reaction today where it was like, all right, I don't need to see the old guy every time they do something in the field. Everyone's like, whoa.
I was thinking about this too. And like, so if they get married, Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce, will they stream it live on Peacock?
According to Tony Romo, they're already married because he keeps calling her
the NFL. Goodell's going to try. Like, he's like, hey, what if we did? And no, we're not doing that. Like,
no, they would get married in like some,
or maybe they'll just broadcast it like on prime time, like the freaking royal wedding or something.
Right. They would get married on like some private island and film it and put on like E or something. Or pay-per-view.
People would pay.
Yeah, people would.
People would pay to see it.
Yeah.
I would just want to see Jason Kelsey's speech because, like,
there's a rumor that Travis Kelce's probably gonna retire too if they win the Super Bowl.
They're gonna go on. They're gonna go out on separate terms. Separate terms. I don't even know what I'm saying right now. I'm like Tony Romo in this podcast.
Oh,
Jim. This
he got better this year.
So
I'll give Tony Romo a shot. He got better this year than last year. Last year he would not shut up. Like there was no dead air time at all. This year I think someone got to him and was like, Tony, you don't have to talk the entire time. Okay.
And too, I think I've said it too. The enthusiasm that he brings is fun. Like I do enjoy Tony Romo for that reason because he's just having the time of his life. Yeah. Al Michaels needs we need to like mesh the two together to like create the perfect announcer.
Jason Kelsey or Travis Kelce in the booth next year with Al Michaels and see how that goes.
Al Michaels lighting up a cigarette in the booth, just like, I got the fucking over in this game. Fucking Herbert. Anyway, let's talk about the NFC. The Packers lost in the final minute. Here's a fun stat. The Packers have 5 playoff losses in the final minute since 2000. That's the most in the NFL. They also have a Super Bowl in that time frame. So there's that. Anders Carlson, brother of Daniel Carlson, also in Packer lore for a completely different reason. Missed a late field goal. Jordan Love, do you think Chris Collinsworth is going to put like Jordan Love's throw at the end of the game and Brett Favre's 2009 NFC Championship throw? Now here's a guy. Let me tell you, he looks just like Brett Favre right here.
People have already done that. I said people have already done that online. They posted like back to back.
Oh, but I want to see the national TV do it because I was told Jordan Love is just the greatest quarterback ever now. And
if he is
buku dollars from the Packers,
if he really is, the second coming of Aaron Rodgers or Brett Favre, then you have to throw those, game losing interceptions because that's what those guys did. They won one Super Bowl and then the rest of the time they just mess it up every time.
We also have some good news. Rick Spielman said for the 33rd team that he would take Jordan Love out of anyone in the 2020 draft class right now. That class, Burrow, Justin Herbert, Tua Tagovailoa, and Jalen Hurts. So, Jordan Love
stay away from Jaden Daniels.
Yes, stay away. Stay away from. He's like praising all the quarterbacks, just like, hey, once I saw Jaden Daniels get a slice of pizza for without pepperoni, and I was like that's my quarterback. Yeah, just like he's the Drake curse for NFL quarterbacks.
Yeah.
But so the question I had here, you can tell I'm just kind of freelancing this, but how much joy did you take in the Packers getting bounced on Saturday?
Oh, it's always fun to watch them lose, and it's always fun to just go on and troll Packers fans and then being like, "Oh, you guys don't win anything, so all you do is just enjoy when our team loses." And I'm just like, yes, that's how it goes. So thanks for understanding how things go around here. Because I think I posted like there was a frame at the end of the game of like Christian Watson and some other receiver just sitting there like dumbfounded. And I just posted it with like crying, laughing emojis because it's funny. Because they would do the same thing. Like those fans would do the same thing. They have done the same thing, if not worse, with some of the Anthony Barr stuff. But yeah, it's always enjoyable to watch the Packers lose. Now the Lions, like people have been trying. I feel like the last few weeks to be like to turn the Lions into like this evil rival, and I'm just like, I can't. They suck so much for so long. I can't be like.
I liked how you transition. Sorry, I'm talking over you, but I mean, I like how you transitioned to this because I was going to get to this. So keep going.
Yeah, like people are like, "Oh, you can't root for the Lions." And it's like I'm not rooting for them, but I don't care if they win. I'm definitely jealous because they sucked for so long. They did things the right way, and they're in the right spot. They're probably going to be good for at least a few years. So, and it's if it was the Browns doing like what the Lions are doing, Vikings fans, I feel like they'd have no problem. But because it's the Lions who are from the same division, a team you play twice out of 17 games, all of a sudden, this team, oh, you can't. The same thing with the Bears. Like, I don't even care if the Bears are good. Like, maybe a little more because they've had some good years with like Jay Cutler and when the defense was good and they went to the Super Bowl. But yeah, Packers, of course, you always hate on the Packers. But I could care less if the Lions are doing well right now.
So the Bears, I get a little annoyed because when they are good, it's like that pop-up season where like everything goes right. Like they just get like miraculous turnovers.
Rex Grossman, Mitch Trubisky, they find a way to win with those guys.
Like you're just looking at them like, how are you good? Like, why is this? It's like the 2022 Vikings where you're just like, well, let's see how far this thing
22,
goes.
2017, 2015, 2020.
Yeah, the Viking. I guess I shouldn't be talking, huh? But I mean, there's some reasons Vikings fans aren't thrilled. The NFL promoted a sign that basically glorified the hits by Kirby Joseph to TJ Hawkinson and Tyler Higbee. I don't like the hits, but also Harrison Smith jumped onto X, I believe, right after the Rams game and was just like, where are they supposed to hit him? Like, because I mean, you hit him high, you get a flag. You hit him in the chest, you bounce right off of them. You hit them low and trip them up, their knee explodes. Like, do we need to go to two-hand touch? Do we need to? And I mean, this isn't like condoning Kirby Joseph's hit. I'm just saying, like, the NFL has created a problem because there's nowhere you can hit a guy without either getting a flag, fined, or shredding someone's knee. So they're also going to ban the hip drop tackle too, because that apparently is dangerous. So it's like two-hand touch.
Soon it's just going to be
I hate to be that old guy. It's just
going to be laser tag on the field. You just have to hit him in the buzzer. Yeah, I think it's always been hard for the NFL to like embrace the violence of its sport while also trying to quote unquote promote safety, because you can try as hard as you want. You can't make football safe. Like, these players know what they're getting into. Is it a strange coincidence that Tyler Higbee and TJ Hawkinson suffered the exact same injuries on the exact same hit? I would say it's less of a coincidence, but I'm not going to be like, oh, like he's hunting for their knees or whatever. But these are big guys. He's smaller. He's got to try and get them down without hitting them in the head. The Lions are a physical team. They come from the Saints, staff. Sean Payton, those defenses. Aaron Glenn was Sean Payton's defensive coordinator. Dan Campbell was on that staff for a while. So they come from that, physical nature of pretty much just do whatever you can to beat the shit out of your opponent. And when people get hurt, the other team's fans don't like that. Me included. I don't like it when it happens, but it's part of football too as well. But yeah, don't tweet that sign out. Like somebody
That was,
and then I
yeah.
think it's still up. Like somebody
Yeah.
yeah.
Justin Jefferson commented on it. He's
It's
like,
what the
why
fuck?
is this here? Yeah. Just, I don't know. I mean, there's been some questionable things with Lions fans, but you have to remember too, like every
never
fan
been
base
here
has
before.
its, well, and every fan base has its like layer of phlegm,
Oh, yeah,
right?
yeah.
Where you just have like these scummy fans that are just like, I hope Justin Jefferson tears his ACL next year or any. I mean, hell, Vikings fans got pretty giddy when Anthony Barr broke Aaron Rodgers'
There's a legal
collarbone
hit.
in 2017. It was a legal hit. I will remind people of that. It was a legal hit, and that Aaron Rodgers is just an asshole. But there's that.
But you also think of like the Philly fans making that sign that said like "fuck Millie" or whatever because the Vikings had that old lady. It's like, what did she do?
That Philly is not like a layer of phlegm. It's like just like this, just like a clogged artery or something. They're just swimming.
That's what's in those cheesesteaks. Just phlegm. It's not cheese.
It's not cheese whips. It's phlegm.
That's disgusting.
And you said it too. The Lions haven't been, and I get like next year, all bets are off. Like,
yeah.
F the Lions because they're good now and we have to get past them or whatever. But like this year, it's kind of like, hey, man, there's a lot of good that you can look at the Lions with. Like, think about Jared Goff. Like a couple years ago, Sean McVay is like, no, you're the just gets rid of him for Matthew Stafford. McVay wants to is a functional quarterback. Much of that is Ben Johnson on the sideline, but it is good to see him like kind of rebound from that moment because when he got traded to Detroit, everybody kind of thought he was a 2-year stopgap and he'd be out of the league. He not only that, he's in the NFC Championship game now. Brad Holmes, their general manager, was working at Enterprise Rent-A-Car while trying to get into the NFL. Now he turned the Lions around in 3 years, by the way, and has them in the playoffs. And then, of course, you have Dan Campbell, who, like, I don't know how big of a Simpsons fan you are, but remember the episode where Homer, like, found his long-lost brother, Herb, and he was, like, this car tycoon, and he had Homer... Do you remember this? He had Homer design a car. Yeah. And like, it was like just the most messed up car. It had like a bubble and like shields for the kid. So he couldn't hear the kids or whatever. And like horn that played La Cucaracha and everything. It was called the Homer. And he wound up like going into bankruptcy because the car was so bad. Like, that is basically what Dan Campbell was the first. I mean, he was a meme. He was a walking meme. Like, he cried after he lost to the Vikings for the first time. And everybody's like, is this guy like okay or whatever? He's a damn good coach. So I don't know. I mean, to see that the good fans get rewarded and see the Lions win a playoff game, win a second playoff game. And yeah, there's a little bit of fatigue there. I mean, eventually Viking fans are going to get sick of it, but for right now, I'm a Twins fan. The Twins broke an 18-game postseason losing streak last October. It has to feel so. The Timberwolves are the number one team in the NBA right now. They're going to be in the playoffs. I hope I feel like just half of what Lions fans are feeling right now as a Timberwolves fan, because I want to see my team win. It's awesome.
And you know what? I'm sure there were some Tigers fans and White Sox fans and Indians fans that were happy to see the Twins do well. They're on the same division, right? I don't want to mess that up.
In the same division, yeah.
They're on the same.
Tigers, Indians, White Sox, and Royals. Like the Royals.
Yeah.
The Royals, when they won the World
Yep.
Series, I was happy for the Royals because I'm like, God, they've been so bad for so long. Like, this is kind of cool. And I mean, football is a little bit like more macho sport. We don't like our rivals or any other team. We cheer for the Vikings and nobody else. But I mean, and I'm not really cheering for them. I'm just acknowledging, hey, this is pretty cool. This is good for you. And the other thing, I think it's time for the Vikings need to basically reevaluate what's going on here.
Not as many.
You got anything else with the playoffs, or not as many game balls? No. You actually get a game ball for that question, Adam. Gary Olson, our commenter here, he says people need to overreact to the Lions and the Packers. I think he's absolutely right. Gary, you get a game ball as well. Actually, you don't. I don't know where you live. I'm not going to seek out your address or anything, but thanks for commenting, Gary.
We'll have Quasi call you. Give you a call.
We'll
stay on the line.
We'll forward it to Kevin O'Connell and see if he'll get a hold of you.
He might be home. He might be down the road. I can give him a knock.
Yeah, maybe. Let's close this thing out properly because it's time.
Oh, okay.
It's time for the Royal Rumble. The Royal Rumble, baby. This Saturday, I will be there. 7th row, Tampa, Florida. St. Petersburg, technically, because it's in the Tampa Bay Rays Stadium. But I'm hyped. I'm way too hyped. I'm starting to get excited. It's going to rain the entire time there, but it's 80.
It'll be so humid.
This is what happens when the Vikings aren't in the playoffs. Like you start going down the road to WrestleMania and you start thinking, I mean, Seth Rollins is probably relinquishing the title as we speak right now because he suffered a knee injury.
I forgot about that.
Let's just start here, man. Who's winning the women's Royal Rumble match?
Women. They're doing something with Becky and Rhea already. Are they facing off at the Rumble?
I think they'll fight at Mania.
Yeah. So
if that happens, Becky might win the Rumble.
No, I think Bayley's gonna win.
I agree with you. They're building something with Bayley, and she's part of Damage Control, and they're kind of teasing that whole breakup thing. I think she wins, and then she's like, I'm gonna fight Rhea. Yes. Yeah. It would be awesome if she got reinforcements.
Because we've seen all this talk about, Mercedes Moné, she's gonna be in AEW, she's gonna debut any day now. And it's like, well, the Rumble's getting very close.
Yes.
So I think she's gonna want to do that instead of, be on the bottom of the card in AEW and get 2 minutes of TV.
Hey, Mercedes, what do you think of Rampage tonight with this half full arena? We could see Naomi, we could see Sasha Banks.
She'll be there.
We could see I don't even know.
Trish Stratus will probably be back.
Probably. Yeah. She's usually a lock to show up.
They only have so many women for the Rumble.
Who would actually get a pop.
You realize how they have more, female wrestlers now, but you realize how little they still have every time they do a Rumble, and you're like, don't know who that is. It's like some girl from
she just debuted in NXT. Cool. Yeah, go you. Go you. Let's talk about the
who's the girl from NXT? Tiffany? I think she'll probably be in there, right?
Tiffany Stratton, yes.
Yeah, she'll be
Minnesotan. She's from Forest Lake, I believe.
Every other wrestler in WWE is from Minnesota or North Dakota.
We're a pipeline, baby.
We
got all of them. Who's winning the men's Royal Rumble match?
That's a tough one.
Now this is where it gets fun, yes, but
because you got to think it's Cody, but they're gonna put Punk. I don't think it's gonna be Punk because I think they want to do Punk Rollins.
Assuming Rollins' knee isn't like spaghetti right now, but
I heard it was. I think it's only an MCL, sprained MCL. It's not easy. It might be worse. You could have just like you said, relinquished the title. I think Drew would be interesting, just to go after Rollins, or maybe even he goes after Gunther, gets the Intercontinental title. But no, they wouldn't do that for the Rumble. I think you gotta go Cody. I think you have to. He's gotta finish the story.
You see, it's interesting because it's we've been expecting Cody
The Rock
Roman
gonna do it? The
to.
Rock gonna win the Rumble?
Well, that's just it. The Rock is looming somewhere.
Yeah.
So, like, does The Rock show up?
It's in Florida.
Somebody brought up the point that a couple years ago, CM Punk or Shawn Michaels and The Undertaker were on a collision course for a rematch. HBK, Undertaker was the champion at the time. That was the path for HBK to set up that rematch. He gets eliminated late in the Rumble, and everyone's like, "Oh shit!" And then I think he kicked Taker's head off and cost him the title at the Elimination Chamber.
Right.
And they wound up having that second match. I could see them doing that with Cody, with like all of a sudden, like Cody gets tossed, and he's like, "Oh my god, the story! How is he gonna finish the story now?" And he winds up finding a way to Roman Reigns. I think it's going to be CM Punk, because here's the other thing. It is 10 years to the day he walked out of WWE. So
what about this? I just don't know if they want to attach themselves to him this fast after everything that happened. I feel like they want to give themselves a little time before they commit to him, because he's been a little flaky the last year or two.
I saw somebody looked at the WWE 2K24 release, and Punk's going to be in the game. So it's like, first thing I'm doing is downloading Jack Perry and having a backstage fight. For those of you who don't speak wrestling, CM Punk punched Jack Perry in the face, and that's why he no longer wrestles for AEW.
He's not even in it.
Yeah, now he's in Japan.
AEW. Yeah.
He kicked his ass so bad he went all the way to Japan.
I think what if finishing the story for Cody is actually beating Logan Paul, winning the US title, because it matches.
He did it.
Matches his outfit better. The US title with his American Nightmare.
Did he win
the title? My father never won. US.
Yeah. How about surprises? What do you think is for surprises in the Rumble?
Well, isn't it is it Okada, the dude from New Japan? Supposed to be, his contract's out, and I think he wants to go in WWE. Him. I'm trying to think who has been out recently or who hasn't been around. I feel like Braun Strowman probably be back. Haven't seen him in a while. Brock Lesnar will definitely be back. Not Edge. Did you see? Wait, hold on. Did you see that countdown of the surprise returns? I think it was on YouTube.
Yeah,
and
Edge was like 12
behind Michelle McCool. What are we doing here? Come on. They did that on purpose.
Edge's comeback at Rumble was like one of my favorite Rumble moments, because it was just like, I remember like reading rumors like Edge is gonna come back. I'm like, his neck is so screwed, like there's no way he's coming back. And then his music hits, and I was like, oh my god, what?
Yeah, that's because
like he was gonna cry in the ramp. He was just like, I don't know what's happening.
Because there was absolutely nothing. No one ever thought he was coming back again. And then they're like, oh, he's back.
Yeah, and then he just showed up.
And then those countdowns, like they always have the John Cena one when he came back in the Garden, and I'm always like, that was okay, but like I wasn't like, oh my god, because everyone knew he was coming back, but I don't know. Yeah,
I think that one was surprising though, because he had like just torn his pec 3 months
ago.
That's
true.
And then he's
You're
like,
right.
I'm back.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So, I've been thinking about all the stuff that like could happen during the match, like Jimmy Uso and Jey Uso crossing paths at some point. One of the things I thought of was Gunther just going on a run and then having Brock Lesnar's music hit. That would be cool. There's probably stuff I'm not even thinking about. I don't care. I'm excited. It is.
Is Donna Kelsey gonna spoil it for Logan Paul?
Donna Kelsey is coming in. She's number 30. Huh? It's Taylor Swift. Taylor's here. I'd be like, guys, you would never believe this shit. Look at this. But yeah, I Royal Rumbles. It is by far my favorite pay-per-view. WrestleMania is great. That's like the Super Bowl. I get it, but Royal Rumble is
divisional
my
weekend.
favorite.
This is
the
division round.
A championship weekend.
I don't know. I like divisional round because I feel like those are like the absolute best teams from the whole season. They all get to play each other because there's more than 2 games. That's why I like it. But yeah, and I'm happy because they moved it to Saturdays now. It's so much better than like staying up on a Sunday. Not that it matters because we cover football or whatever in sports, so we're up anyways. But like, it's just nice to not have it on a Sunday. 'Cause Sunday always feels like a relaxed kind of day, so you still get to have that. But yeah, I'll be watching it for sure. Maybe
So
I'll get the boys to watch it too. Who knows?
their first Royal Rumble. You never forget your
They
first
probably don't
Royal
want to
Rumble.
watch it. Like my
What is
youngest
this,
might.
Dad? This is dumb. Put on Bluey.
That's exactly it.
Hey, man, what's going on at the Viking age?
Well, we're just trucking along, still covering the off season, still doing draft stuff, free agent stuff. Sometimes we write about Kirk Cousins. I think people like to read about him. And yeah, just doing a bunch of stuff on here with the podcast and putting up some. You've been cranking out the clips, so that's been fun too. Yeah, just getting ready for, let's see, championship weekend. We got a bunch of former Vikings in there. I'm sure we'll write about that because Teddy Bridgewater's in there, Dalvin Cook's in there. I mentioned Treadwell. I don't think anyone from the Niners is. Oh, I did find T.Y. McGill. His brief stint,
Oh,
he's on the Niners. That's the only because Jerick
preseason
McKinnon's
hero.
hurt.
Yeah.
Oh wait, no, Jerick McKinnon's on the Chiefs. Never mind. For some reason I thought he was still on the Niners. I don't know why I thought that. But yeah, just go check out thevikingage.com. Check out me, Adam Patrick, NFL on Twitter and Threads. And that's it because I don't really like to go anywhere else.
Yes. And you can follow me on social media. I'm on X. I'm on Threads. I'm on TikTok. I'm on Instagram. All these
Pinterest.
places. I no Pinterest yet, but I'll consider it. I am at the real Chris Schad. I have at the Viking Age as my handle down here.
There you go.
You can follow us there too.
Company man over here.
Yes, but you can follow us wherever you want on social media. But that's all the time we got for today on the Viking Age podcast. We do this every Monday with a late week episode right here on the Viking Age YouTube channel. We're also in podcast form on Apple and Spotify the very next day. But however you consume us, make sure you rate, comment, like, and subscribe so you never miss a new episode and we can spread the word to the masses. For Adam Patrick, I am Chris Schad. This has been the Viking Age podcast.